So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this live session by Drishti IAS. So I'm sorry we couldn't come live yesterday, so we'll be covering those important news from yesterday's newspaper in today's session. The second thing is, whenever there is this issue related to, because of some reason we couldn't come live, then I would suggest that you go through the newspaper. You don't have to dwell deep into it, but just have an idea that what news items were there in the paper. That's it. Okay. So now let's see. In today's session, there was last time there was this technical glitch because of which the video stopped midway, and there was no practice question which was discussed in the video. So we will not take any practice question, and let's start with the important articles of the day. We will talk about CART or CAR cell therapy. So it is related to cancer. Okay, so there was one significant development in this arena. So we'll be talking about that, and then we'll discuss let's say some important features of this CAR therapy. Okay, then picking election commission. So you must have known that recently this election commission has been in news because of various reasons, their appointment related issues, and then there was this law which was passed by the parliament. Okay, and president's assent was given. So ultimately there was this news which has been coming again and again related to appointment of election commission. So basically now we are going for the first time through the process of consultation as it was given in the act. Okay, so we'll be talking about how we have arrived at that particular process, how it was done earlier and how it will be done now onwards. Okay, then WTO's 13th ministerial conference. So WTO has, World Trade Organization has its structure, and therein we have this ministerial conferences where these are, you can say that, deliberation bodies which come together every 2 years and make important decisions related to it. Okay, so we'll be talking about that. Then Uniform Civil Code in Uttarakhand. Okay, so we'll be talking about that, as we have taken this article day before yesterday as well, but since it was in the explained section, so we'll be going through that article as well. And then judicial processes and their reform report. So there was this new reform report by the parliamentary committee or the panel which has been put forward in front of government, and government has considered some recommendations and rejected some. So we'll be talking about that. And then quota to made organic. This is what Supreme Court said. Okay, so Supreme Court was considering this reference case in which they are trying to look back into the quota related matters, and in that particular matter Supreme Court said that these quotas or the reservation should be made organic. Organic means here that they should be changed with respect to time. Okay, as and when it was required, when we are talking about let's say when it was originated in the constitution back in the 1950s, then the purpose of reservation was to bring forward the socially and educationally backward classes. The aim was those people who has faced discrimination in the past, those should be bring into mainstream, or they should be given jobs and reservation in the, let's say, in their political representation, etc. Okay, now the thing is, various people has took advantage of that, but few people in the strata, or you can say lower strata of that particular community, are still facing the similar issues. So that is why Supreme Court has said that they should be organic and they should be changed as per the time, how so that we can ensure that even the lower strata comes forward with the help of the reservation. Okay, then looking around the world, we will be talking about international relations, and then some issues related to it. Other than that, we will be talking about 1 or 2 maps if we have. Okay, and then there will be an article for your own read, then we will be discussing the practice question. So let's start with the first article of the day, that is related to your CAR-T cell therapy. So Dr. Colonel V.K. Gupta took the CAR cell therapy at Mumbai's Tata Memorial Hospital. Okay, so in India, India's Drug Regulation Authority has approved the commercial use of CAR cell therapy. Okay, so this CAR cell therapy is, you can say, a cell therapy which is with the help of genetically modifying, or you can say genetically modifying cells. They are trying to target cancer cells so that we can be cancer free. So this is the first case where this person has taken this CAR cell therapy, and it is said that he is cancer free now. Okay, so we'll be talking about that. India's drug regulation regulator approved the commercial use of CAR cell therapy, a pioneering treatment that genetically reprograms a patient's immune system to fight cancer. So basically what happens here is that You will take T cells from a person, you will culture them in the laboratory or genetically modify them in the laboratory, and then these cells are placed back into the body. And now since these cells are genetically modified, they have special task. They will target the cancer cell, they will attack on those cancer cells and then destroy them. Okay, so ultimately once that particular tumor or that cancer cells are destroyed, that person would be cancer free. Okay, so this was when we are talking about these therapies in the treatment procedure etc. of the cancer, this is relatively new and this is costly as well. When we are talking about abroad, there will be there will be a cost of nearly 3 to 4 crore. Okay, but in this particular case he has paid nearly 42 lakhs, so it is affordable as well. No doubt it is yet to, when we are talking about the amount that is 42 lakh, it is indeed very much a big amount. But the thing is, with respect to the amount which is to be paid to the abroad, like 3 to 4 crore, relatively we can say that it is quite cheaper. Okay, now he is currently free from the cancer cell. Okay, so that is one positive news. Now here we can say that we can take a look at the process. Okay, before that I would like to tell you in the theory, next CAR-19, this is the name of the therapy which he has taken. Okay, so the broadly you can say that that is CAR cell therapy. Okay, chimeric antigen receptor therapy. Okay, so basically as a part of the therapy, the patient's T cells type of immune cells are collected and genetically modified into potent cancer fighters known as CAR cells. So basically what they does is they take the T cells, okay, and then they genetically modify it and then put them back into the body so that they express chimeric antigen receptor specific to cancer cell. The modified CAR cell are expanded in the laboratory before being infused back into the patient. Once in the body, these engineered cell recognizes and attack the cancer cell with a focus on B cell cancers, thus offering a targeted and potent immunotherapy. So basically they becomes part of your immune system, they go inside the body and then they target the cancer cells. Okay, so let's see what is the first step. From the body of the patient you will take out the T cells. These T cells are basically you can say some when we are talking about our immune system, we have some fighter cells etc. So T cells are taken out of the patient's body and then they are sent to lab. T cells are genetically engineered to find and kill the cancer cell. So they will be given with a particular receptor which will attach to the cancer cell and then they will destroy that. So ultimately here they are giving some kind of identification or a receptor so that they can go and target the cancer cells. Okay, so they are genetically engineered or genetically modified in the laboratory. The re-engineered cells are multiplied until they are millions of these attacker cells. Okay, their amount is increased so that when they multiply they will have a significant amount and then that significant amount is transferred to the, you can say, human's body. CAR cells are infused back into patients and multiply in number. These attacker cells will recognize and kill the cancerous cell and help guard against reoccurrence. Okay, so ultimately this is the simple process which has been used in CAR cell therapy. Okay, so this much is important for you. Now we can move back to another article, that is Picking Election Commission. So here what is happening is that when we are talking about appointment of election commission, earlier what used to happen is that there was a committee, not actually committee, there was this government used to refer some name to prime minister and prime minister used to take one of those names and forward it to president and president used to appoint it. Okay, so there is this article 324 which is related to your election commission. When we are talking about election commission in India, you know that we have 3 members. Okay, there would be one chief election commissioner and then there will be 2 other ECs. Okay, so that is the composition of election commission in India. Okay, now one thing is clear that election commission is an independent body. Now if it is an independent body, since constitution says that it is an independent body, it is a constitutional body. Now we are saying that if it is an independent body and when we are talking about appointment is done by president, okay, through recommendation of prime minister. Prime minister will recommend president and president will appoint. So basically here executive is making the appointment. So now the question is how this body will become or perform independently when executive is taking care of the, you can say, the appointment process. Other than that also, how, what is the criteria on which these names are to be referred to prime minister, and prime minister will give it to let's say president. Okay, so there is no criteria, so we can say that it was an opaque process. So that is why there were various petitions in the Supreme Court to go back and check into this particular matter. Okay, so now let's see what Supreme Court has done, and we will see what is the issue which has been discussed here. Okay, the election commission Anup Chandra Pandey is set to retire on 14th of February. So now new chief election commissioner will be election commissioner will be appointed. So this is the first time we will be taking the process which the act, government has come up with the act, and that act is mentioning particular process for this appointment. Okay, so we will be using that particular process for the first time. That is why article has been taken. The selection will be made by the committee comprising prime minister, Lok Sabha leader of opposition, and then a union minister which is to be appointed by or nominated by the prime minister. So right now when we are talking about appointments, so there is this select committee. Okay, this select committee is having prime minister and then leader of opposition in Lok Sabha. If there is no leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha as in today's scenario, so the leader of the largest opposition party will be taken here, considered here, and then there will be a cabinet minister. Okay, and that minister, or you can say union cabinet minister, will be part of this particular committee. Okay, now this particular minister, union minister, will be nominated by prime minister here. Okay, now there are certain concerns related to this particular process as well, but we will go into that later. Right now you can see that this is what will be happening in the coming days. We will see that this particular process will be involved in the selection of election commission. The similar committee is there for Central Vigilance Commissioner. Okay, now when we are talking about what prompted this change, as I told you earlier, the process was like this, and that is why there was various writ petitions to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has given particular you can say direction to the government. We will be talking about that. Now here you can see that Article 324 Clause 2 specifies that President's role in the appointing election commissioner, with the caveat that this appointment is subjected to any law passed by the Parliament. However, successive government had not shown any incident or any interest in making a law. So this article provides that there should be a law made by Parliament according to which President will ultimately go for the appointment. Okay, but the thing is, the Parliament has not taken any interest, or they have not come up with any such law. So what is the process? Process was that Prime Minister will give a name to President, and President will appoint that person. Okay, so the thing is, there was no particular process in which Parliament was involved. Now they have gone to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said that till the time you are coming up with such process, there will be a select committee, and that select committee will be comprising of Prime Minister, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and then Chief Justice of India. These three people will be the part of select committee, and then they will refer a name to President, and President will appoint it. So that was the judgment which was given by Supreme Court. That was the direction which was given by the Supreme Court. Okay, after this direction, what happens that government has gone for making a law, and government has come up with a law recently. And that law says that there will be a select committee comprising PM, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and a union minister. And now that union minister will be appointed by or nominated by Prime Minister here. Okay, so that is the case now. This is given in a parliamentary act. Okay, so Supreme Court has said that till the time there is such act, this committee will work. But now we have the act, so now this committee will work. Okay, so now here you can see how were election commission appointed then. As I told you, this was an executive action through Prime Minister. President used to appoint. Okay, then what was the Supreme Court's ruling? As I told you, Supreme Court has said that there will be this particular select committee. Okay, till the time there is a parliamentary act. Now what has government done meantime? So other than that also, what was this the first time a consultative process will be used. So basically, yes, for the first time this process will be used, but recommendations has made by various law commissions as well. Okay, so there was this law commission under Dinesh Goswami. He has said that president consult the Chief Justice of India, leader of opposition, or the leader of the largest opposition group. Okay, so basically he has talked about this particular select committee. Okay, when other we are talking about this other law commission's report, they have also talked about a consultative process. Okay, then there was other incident where they have said that Chief Justice of India, leader of opposition, and the Chief Election Commissioner should be consulted when we are appointing another election commissioner. Okay, in case of Chief Election Commissioner, so these two person, that is leader of opposition plus your Chief Justice of India, should be consulted. And when we are talking about the other election commissioner, there should be a Chief Justice of India, leader of opposition, as well as the Chief Election Commissioner. Okay, so that was the recommendation made by the law commission earlier as well. So whenever there is a question related to reforms in election commissioner, you can name these commissions. Okay, that will fetch you extra marks. Okay, now what happened after Supreme Court judgment? As I told you, after Supreme Court judgment came, center has gone for the act. Okay, so that is related to appointment, and center has come up with this select committee. Now there are certain people or leader oppositions which are saying that this is also somehow biased, because already, if you can see, prime minister nominates a minister, and then in this select committee obviously there will be a majority of government over here. Okay, now leader of opposition's role might not be considered over there, but the thing is, this way at least we know that there is this person who makes the working of the select committee a transparent method. Okay, even the opposition will know what is going inside. Okay, and who is being appointed as election commissioner and how it is done. Okay, in the earlier process we did not have any such person inside inside the government which are referring the names, so that is why it was an opaque process. Now it is a relatively transparent process. Okay, so that is what is about this article which we have discussed everything. You can go back if you want to give it a read, you can do that. Okay, so now let's move forward with the another article that is related to raising judges retirement age on performance, not practical. Okay, so basically there was this report, they have suggested some reforms. We will be talking about those reforms and which government has accepted, and otherwise if they have rejected, then why they have rejected. Okay, so we'll be talking about that. Hold on. So there was this parliamentary standing committee on law and personal, they have come up with the judicial process and their reforms report. Okay, now this report actually is dwelling into the issue of judicial reforms. Okay, and judicial reforms are necessary because we know that there are various cases which are pending in judiciary, and that is why it is important for us to go for reforms in the criminal justice system. When we are talking about the simplification of the laws, we have gone for our own version of criminal laws. Okay, now the thing is how judiciary should be reformed, that is another issue. So there are certain recommendations which has been made by this particular committee. They have said that based on the performance of a judge, you can extend their you can say working tenure after they have reached the age of retirement. Okay, so basically they are saying raising the judges retirement age, okay, so that judge can serve more. Okay, now the government is saying that is not practical, because if that happens, there are chances that there will be this pressure on the judges to perform in a certain way. Okay, second thing is, if we are to assess the performance of judges, who will do that? So this committee recommended that collegium, Supreme Court collegium will do that. Now government's concern is that Supreme Court collegium's working is already opaque. Okay, so there are already a tussle going between the parliament and the Supreme Court collegium. Now if you give one more power to Supreme Court collegium, that would make it even more difficult, or you can say complex, the situation. Other than that, that will be opaque. Then third thing is, judges are supposed to be work in a impartial way. But now if there is a pressure on the judge to work in a certain way, or he knows that his performance is being judged, there are chances that he will be biased, or he will be doing certain things to favor someone. Okay, so that can be an issue. Other than that, then there will be an issue of favoritism. Okay, we are saying that there is already a favoritism going on in the Supreme Court when we are talking about this appointment of judges, etc., the working of the collegium. So there was this narrative which says that there are certain people who are relatives which are being judges, etc. The thing is, if we go for such system, there might be chances that favoritism might increase. Okay, so now government has this concern, that is why government said that cannot be practical. Okay, so let's see, let's read it. Recommended a performance appraisal system extending the tenure of the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court beyond existing retirement age. Okay, the constitution which provides for the tenure, or you can say age of retirement, that is for Supreme Court judges it is 65 years, and for High Court judges it is, you can say, 62 years. Okay, now they are saying that there should be an increase in the age of retirement based on the performance. And how you will judge the performance? Judge may be reassessed based on their health condition, quality of judgment, and number of judgment delivered, okay, by the Supreme Court Collegium. Now government says this will result in an empowering, it will result in empowering the Supreme Court Collegium for evolution of the judges. It will further erode the power of parliaments and empower the judiciary through the this collegium system to take decision on the enhancement of the age. So basically they are saying that that will give one more power to the judiciary when we are talking about the this particular thing of increasing the retirement age. Okay, other than that, there will be an undue favoritism, make the judges susceptible to the pressure. Okay, so that is the thing which has government said that, because of which it is not practical. Now there was another recommendation related to the Supreme Court's regional benches. We know that there is a huge pendency in the Supreme Court, even when we are talking about the higher judiciary, in High Court as well as Supreme Court, even the lower subordinate judiciary also, there is a huge pendency. So considering that, this panel suggested that there should be a regional branch of Supreme Court. Okay, so right now Supreme Court is working at Delhi only, so they are recommend that you can go for one or two regional branches as well, so that access to justice can be increased. That will increase in the, you can say, accessibility by the citizens. Okay, other than that, since there are more benches, there are chances that we will increase the number of judges as well, and considering that there will be a less number of pendency. Okay, so that has been suggested by the panel. Government accepted the recommendation. Government said that we are even vouching for the same thing, but the problem is Supreme Court is not, you can say, skeptical. Supreme Court is kind of skeptical about this particular issue. So that is why there is this tussle between Supreme Court and the government in this regard. So now they have said that we will be sending the recommendation to the Supreme Court. Let's see what happens. Okay, but right now government has accepted this. The government has accepted the recommendation. Supreme Court should have regional benches appointed out. That apex court has been consistently rejecting the idea. So that is the issue. Now third recommendation was staggered vacations. When we are talking about vacations or the leaves in the Supreme Court right now or High Court, there is particular month, let's say May or June, there is this 2 months of holidays for courts. Okay, all the judges will be going for vacations, considering limited number of people for the emergency matters. Okay, now the thing is, when every judge is going at the same time, there will be a deadlock, or you can say total shutdown of the business of the Supreme Court or the High Court as well. Okay, so now this panel has recommended that all these judges can be going for the staggered vacations, like at different period of time different people will be going on the vacations. Okay, that way we can ensure that the court works throughout the year, and that will also help you you can say decreasing the pendency. Okay, so that is what has been suggested by the panel. Judges can go for staggered vacations, keeping in mind the huge pendency of the cases. Staggered vacation by individual judges at different time of the year will ensure courts are not shut for nearly 2 months every year. Okay, now this recommendation has been sent to the Supreme Court and the Registrar General of High Courts after due approval from the minister, and now we are waiting for the response from the Supreme Court here. Okay, so now this is about this article. This is related to reforms in the Supreme Court. Whenever there is a question related to reforms in Supreme Court, or when we are talking about pendency related issues, etc., so all these things you can discuss, wherein you can name this particular report as well. Okay, so now we can move further. Okay, so Uttarakhand brings one code for marriage, inheritance, divorce. We have talked about it, that Uttarakhand is going for UCC, that is Uniform Civil Code, that is given in article 44. I have asked this question, many people has given the right answer as well. Now the thing is, Uttarakhand has placed, and now even they have got the nod for that. Okay, So they have, what they have done is they have made some significant changes. We will not go into details of which, because that might not be important for you, but the major changes which we will be discussing over here, that marriage fixed at 21 years for male and 18 years for women. They have defined marriage and they have said that there should be a heterosexual marriage only. Marriage can be between a male and a female only. Okay. And when they are talking about the age of the minimum age of the male should be 21 years, and the minimum age of the female should be 18 years. Okay. So that is one thing they have done. Second thing is equal property rights for son, daughter, legitimate or illegitimate. So basically, earlier what used to happen when we are talking about Hindu personal laws, and then there is Muslim personal laws, they are guiding the system related to your ancestral property, etc. Now they have made this simple. They have said that for all there will be one law, UCC. Okay. And in that particular law they will govern, or they will give a equality to sons, daughters, illegitimate or not. Okay. If they are legal heir, or otherwise also if they are illegitimate also, then also they will be getting their equal share in the property. Okay. And another thing is they will be now governed by the UCC and not by the personal laws. Okay. Most of these issues, or you can say provisions of the Succession Act, which UCC has given, has taken from the Hindu Succession Act. Okay. Because that was quite comprehensive, and that is why they have taken most of them from that. Other than that, there are certain things they have talked about, that is partners in live-in relation has to register with the registrar. Okay. So now if you are going for any kind of live-in relation, so you have to go for registration with the registrar, and if you are not going for that, that is punishable. Why it is done we will see, but that is one thing. Here you can say registration of live-ins, jail terms raise questions over the privacy and liberty. So basically what they have done, that there will be a compulsory registration if you are not, and that registration should be within the 1 month after entering into live-in relationship. And there is this provision of producing a certificate. Okay. So if you are not able to produce a certificate, then also you will be jailed. Okay. So here you can see the bill requires the partners to notify the registrar within a month of entering into a live-in relationship while terminating a live-in relationship. So if you are entering into it or you are terminating it, you have to inform the registrar. Okay. It prescribes a jail terms up to 3 months if you are not registering it. Okay. In case of failing to produce a certificate of live-in relationship, a term of 6 months is prescribed on conviction. Okay. Now the thing is, when we are going for such information, or you can say registration, etc., so there is the issue related to privacy and the right of the person. Okay. That there are certain people who want to live inside a relationship, but the thing is they do not want to declare it to the world. But in that particular condition, that things are going against the right of the person, or you can say privacy of the person and the liberty of the person. Okay. So we will see how people will respond to that, but right now this is the provision which they have made. Okay. The concern over heinous crimes among the live-in couples. So basically we see this news again and again. There are crimes happening inside the house. So considering that, they have taken this particular initiative. Okay. It will act as a mental deterrent if a partner had bad intentions. Okay. If a person wants to do certain criminal act, so this provision will act as a deterrence. Okay. Other than that, section 388, if a woman gets deserted by a living partner, she shall be entitled to claim a maintenance from her living partner. So they have made this you can say at the par with the marriages. They are saying that if a person, or if two people are living in a relationship, they are living in a live-in relationship, in that case, if the male desert the wife, or the partner desert the wife, desert the partner again. So in case that a person is deserting the living partner, in that case also you have to provide for a maintenance. Okay. So this confusion between wife and living partner was because right now this provision is for the wives. Okay. But now the UCC has provided for the living partners as well. Okay. So now these are certain things. Other than that, bigamy and polygamy are barred. Okay. So when we are talking about few you can say particular communities wherein bigamy is allowed by their personal laws, so that is barred in this UCC. No more personal laws of succession. UCC borrowed from the Indian Succession Act. Okay. So they have borrowed from the Indian Succession Act, and sorry, not from the Hindu Succession Act, that is from the Indian Succession Act. Okay. Again, no difference between ancestral property and self-acquired property for intestate succession for Hindus. So when we are talking about intestate succession, that means that a person who has died without a will. Okay, if there is a will is only catering the self acquired property. If there is an ancestral property, that there are other laws for that, but when we are talking about will, that is only for the self acquired property. But right now what they have done, that they have done away with the difference between the ancestral property and the self acquired property. If a person is dying intestate, that whole property will be considered in one pool, and then it will be divided as per the succession laws. Okay, so these are particular important changes which has been made in the UCC. Other than that, when we are talking about certain communities, or you can say tribal communities, they are kept outside the scope of this UCC, because tribal communities have their own particular customs and they are shy with the contact with the mainstream societies. That is why they are kept out of this particular thing. Even when we are talking about this UCC in the constitution, Baba Sahib has also said that the term that states shall endure towards UCC does not mean that they have to go for a universal code. They should maintain that there are certain things where state has to act in the secular sphere, where whatever things which are in the secular sphere, that should be governed by the UCC. Okay, so if there is a when we are talking about marriage, if there are certain customs inside a marriage, okay, which is not affecting the right of a person or the male or female, in that case those customs are safe there. The state will not enter into that domain. Okay, but the thing is, if there is something related to succession, that succession is basically interfering with the person's right. Okay, so that succession should be, you can say, let's say in the secular sphere, and that is why they are governed by another laws, let's say UCC in the Uttarakhand, and not from the personal laws. So that is the logic behind UCC. That is not a universal, or you can say blanket cover to all the personal laws. Okay, so now moving further, there is this article related to the same things, that how it will change things for Muslims. As I told you, in Muslims, when we are talking about succession, the laws are different. For they have personal laws. Okay, so Hadith and Quran are guiding those principles of their succession. But right now, when we are talking about UCC in Uttarakhand, they will be guided by UCC and not from the personal laws. Okay, and similar thing goes for the Hindus as well, because their succession acts, they have Hindu Succession Act, then we have Indian Succession Act. But right now there will be a single succession act, and the difference between the ancestral property and the personal property of the intestate has been actually, you can say, done away with. Now the thing is, if there is a person who is making a will, so in that will, since the difference between ancestral and the personal property has done away with, even in that will he can devolve the property according to his will. Okay, so that is another thing. When we are talking about changes for Muslim, when we are talking about the age of the marriage, which has been set 18 years and 21 years respectively, the thing is, in Muslims, the age of marriage is considered to be that age of puberty. Okay, so when there is puberty, that is nearly 13 to 14 years of age. So in that personal laws, they allow marriage after 13 to 14 years. Okay, but the thing is, that has changed now, because now for everyone that age is 18 years and that 21 years. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about the nature of the testamentary succession, as I told you, that through will they had done away with the difference between the ancestral property and the personal property. Okay, then here you can say that all these things we have discussed. Now they have done one more thing when we are talking about this succession. There are class 1 legal heirs and then class 2 legal heirs. So when we are talking about the parents, so both parents were not included in the class 1 earlier. Okay, but now they have actually included both the parents in the class 1 heir. Okay, so let's say what they are trying to do is, when we are talking about the class 1 heir, so wife, children and mother were considered as the class 1 heir. Okay, but by class 1 heir means that if, let's say, there is a property and that person died without a will. Okay, so now how this property will distributed? So this whole property will go to the class 1 heir. Now there is a group of persons which are included in the class 1, that is the wife, kids and mother. Okay, so that property will be divided into these 3 people accordingly. Okay, but if there is no class 1 heir, then there is class 2 heirs, and in that class 2 heirs there are siblings, nieces, nephews, etc. Okay, so ultimately we can say, when we are talking about class 1 heir, father was not included. Okay, but now with this UCC they have included father as well. So earlier, when there was this class 1 heir, the property was not going to the siblings. Okay, that was going to the kids and wife. Okay, or the mother. But the thing is, since there is father was not there, so now since father was included, so through parents this property might devolve into the siblings as well, okay, to the class 2 heirs as well. But you don't have to go into that much technicality. Only thing is you can remember that both parents, father and mother, were included as class 1 heir, okay. So that is another thing. Other than that, what changes for the Hindus, which we have discussed, that Hindu laws have difference between the ancestral property and the personal property. There was this co-parcely concept, okay, in which they are governed through the Mitaksha school of philosophy. There are different rules for that personal laws, but the thing is you don't have to go into all those things, okay, which we have already discussed. But if you want to talk about all these things, so there is this in news series in which this article was covered, okay. Other than that, there was this issue of bigamy and polygamy, which were outlawed from the personal laws. Now in the UCC they are not considered as legal. Then the practices like you can say iddat, halala, etc. They are also barred, but the thing is they have not mentioned that particular thing, that particular name in the bill, but they have the concept which they have given, that if you are remarrying to a person, you don't have to go for a marriage to the third person, okay. So in Muslim personal law there was this particular concept where if you are married to a person and you broke the marriage, you came out of that marriage, then you have to marry another person if you want to remarry that same person, okay. So that is quite technical, but the thing is now that particular thing has also done away with. They have not mentioned the name like iddat and halala, all these things, but the thing is they have done away with that, okay. So that particular thing you can discuss in the news. Now Supreme Court, those who has gained from the quota should make way for the more backward. So ultimately there was this case, okay, EV Chennaiya versus state of Andhra Pradesh and others, okay. In that particular case, it was said that when we are talking about subcategorization in the SC communities, they have said that SC community is homogeneous community. You cannot go for any kind of subdivision. So in the EV Chennaiya versus state of Andhra Pradesh, this particular thing was said that scheduled castes forms an homogeneous classes and there cannot be any further subdivision among them, okay. So that is what they have said in that particular thing. Right now there was this reference made to the Supreme Court wherein they are to review this particular judgment, okay. In that review, now judges has said that if a person who has taken the advantage of reservation and got out of that particular, let's say the discriminatory position, once he is into the mainstream and he has taken the benefit of reservation and he has done well for himself, they should do away with the reservation, and that so that reservation can be given to some other person as well. So let's say for example there is this particular officer who has got selected through an SC quota, okay. Now he is an officer, he has done well for himself, he is earning well, and he has this good education for his kids, etc. Now their kids should not be given this particular reservation, so that seat can be saved for another person from the community which is in the below strata, okay. So that is what Supreme Court has said in this particular reference. Here you can say quota policy should be organic and evolving, says Supreme Court, goes back to SC ST subclassification. Here they are saying that this quota policy should be organic and evolving. With the change of time, that policy should also change, okay. Reservation policy should be organic and evolving and not static. A reference whether scheduled caste and scheduled tribe can be subclassified for providing affirmative action benefit, okay. The center told that it favors the subclassification. In this case, central government has said that they are in favor of subclassification. Key to achieve it, they are saying that whatever our actual objective is to make people out of that discriminatory position, that is the subclassification is key to achieve that particular objective behind the reservation, who have a history of discrimination from centuries, and ensure there is a trickle down effect, okay. So now they are referring to this they are reviewing this Chennaiya versus state of Andhra Pradesh. This particular case becomes important for you, which has said that SC communities are homogeneous, so there cannot be further subdivisions, okay. But now right now Supreme Court has said that these things should be evolving with the time, and since a person has got reservation and he is doing well, so their kids should let go of that particular reservation, okay, so that other people can get benefited out of it, okay. So that is the gist of this article. So that is one thing. Now when we are talking about economy section, there is this 13th ministerial conference which is held from which will be held from the 26th of Feb to 29th. Okay, so now India is to exclude labor, green issues during the WTO discussions. So when we are talking about this WTO discussion, they are mostly related to trade. But what developed countries are doing is that they are also including issues like labor and green issues, etc. Now, what their point is that they, by including these issues like labor and green trade, etc., what they are doing is they are creating some kind of non-tariff barriers. Okay. Now India is saying that this is advantageous for advanced countries and it is detrimental for developing countries. That is why they are saying that they will exclude such discussion in this particular ministerial conference which is to be happening. Amid rising environmental and related measures being introduced, trade policies such as European Union's carbon tax, which we have talked about, and deforestation laws that could hurt export from the developing countries. India is set to bar bet from the exclusion of the labor and environmental issues from the negotiation held at the WTO, that is ministerial conference. They will object to any work program or negotiation on the non-trade issues such as environmental, gender, micro and medium enterprises, etc., MSMEs at WTO's 13th ministerial conference. They are saying that anything which is related to the non-trade issues, we will not talk about it, because ultimately that is benefiting the developed countries. And second thing is, when we are talking about such things, they are in favor of developed countries, and because of which these discussions, we cannot talk about the trade related issues. Okay, so that is why India is not taking part of in that discussion, if it happens. Okay, international trade expert has pointed out that the developed nations have been pushing non-trade issues in the grab of sustainability to reverse the growing trade deficit that has been developing they have with the developing nations. So basically, when we are talking about developed nations like USA, etc., countries like India has trade surplus with them, and considering that, they are saying that they are going for such barriers, that is non-tariff barriers, so that they can reduce the trade deficit. Okay, so that is why they are, countries like India are saying that we are not going to be part of such discussions. Now, moreover, through WTO reforms, the developed nations are pushing for fundamental change in the structure of WTO to favor the rich nations. Other than that, they are saying that they are asking for the change in the structure of WTO, and that to favor the rich nations. Again, India will saying is not in favor of that. India will continue to maintain its stance that labor and environment are not are basically non-trade issues. They should not be part of discussions at WTO. The trade barriers should not be erected under the guise of sustainable development. So basically, India is saying that these trade barriers should not be raised in the name of sustainable development or environmental related issues. Okay, now these are specialized bodies where these issues should be discussed. There are various bodies like UNFCCC we have. Other than that, also there are UNDP, etc., where we can discuss all these issues, but WTO is not the platform. That the purpose of the trade is to ensure sustainable development. So under the guise of these, developed countries cannot erect protectionist barriers. Okay, now we have talked about this EU's carbon adjustment mechanism earlier as well, so I will not go into details of it. Okay, so that is the thing which India has said, that they will not be part of any kind of discussion which is non-trade related. Okay, when we are talking about WTO ministerial conferences, these are happening every 2 years. This is basically top decision making bodies and usually meets every 2 years. All members of WTO are involved in ministerial conference, and they can take decision on the matters covered under the multilateral trade agreements. Okay, so basically here they are basically talking about the trade related issues, and all the countries are part of these trade ministerials. Okay, or I mean ministerial conferences. Okay, and this is meeting every 2 years. When we are talking about WTO, so here you can say that it came into being in 1995. WTO is the successor of General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, GATT, which was established after the Second World War. Okay, to revive the trade and transactions in the post-war era. So basically, this GATT was devised, and now in 1995 it was changed to, or you can say success to WTO, that is World Trade Organization, in 1995. Okay, the objective is to help trade flow smoothly, freely, and predictably. It has 164 members, which account for nearly 18% of the world trade. WTO's rule the agreements are result of negotiations between the members. Okay, since in the ministerial all the members are part of it, and then they will decide the rules and regulation of WTO. The current set is largely the outcome of the 1986 to 94 Uruguay round. Okay, when we are talking about the current framework which we are living in, or the WTO is working in the current framework, that framework was decided in the Uruguay round. So that name or that particular round becomes important for you. WTO has its secretariat based in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay, so these are some factual information related to WTO which you can take a screenshot or you can keep for your revision. You can actually download the PDF of this discussion from your Telegram channel, and the link is given in the description. Okay, so now international relations, when we are talking about, so Pakistan is going for a voting today. There are three important candidates. These are given: Nawaz Sharif, Imran Khan, and Bilawal Benazir Bhutto. But the thing is, there are chances that Nawaz Sharif will come as winner. Other than that, there was this issue, or you can say two blasts in Balochistan at the same time. Okay, no one has taken the responsibility of this particular attack. Other than that, we have talked about this three-phased you can say truce agreement or peace agreement. Okay, Hamas were considering it, and Hamas said that they are ready for it. Okay, but they have given this 45-day each. There will be a three-phase, and three-phase will be of 45 days of each. Okay, so you can say that there will be total 135 days, and in which we are considering that this war will end. But the thing is, Israel has rejected it. Israel has said that there will be Netanyahu reject the Hamas truce of a total victory in Gaza within the reach. Okay, so basically they are determined to eliminate Hamas from that particular region. Okay, so they have rejected it. When we are talking about what is this particular three-phased truce agreement, so here they have said that in three phases they will be going for release of the hostages. That in the first phase they will be releasing the senior citizens, women and children. Okay, they will exchange it. In the second phase they will be exchanging the prisoners which are there. Okay, but the thing is, mostly when we are talking about this agreement, there the indication is that Hamas will have the control in the Gaza after this particular thing as well. So now at that particular point they have rejected the peace deal. Okay, the Saudi Arabia has said that they will not normalize their ties with the Israel till this issue is considering, and they are going for vouching for the independent Palestinian state recognized in the 1967 borders. So unless there is this particular you can say state or Palestinian state, they will not normalize their ties with the Israel. So that is, you can say, about current situation in the Israel-Palestine issue. Other than that, when we are talking about Bangladesh foreign minister in Delhi, they meet with the Jaishankar. Okay, so the thing is, they have met with the Jaishankar as well as our national security advisor Mr. Ajit Doval. Other than that, when we are talking about Hassan Mahmood, he has come to India for the first time after the elections in the Bangladesh. Okay, they have discussed various deals, actually various area of collaboration, that is cross border connectivity, economic and developmental partnership, cooperation in the defense and security, power, energy, water resources, and people to people exchanges which we have with Bangladesh. Okay, they have discussed that their future engagement will be on the basis of their national goals, that is basically Viksit Bharat at 2047 and Smart Bangladesh 2041. So they are trying to work on their personal engagement, or you can say their collaborations on the lines of Viksit Bharat as well as Smart Bangladesh. Okay, they have exchanged views on various regional and multilateral issues, common interests, etc., and expressed commitment to further enhance their collaboration to promote sub-regional cooperation. Sub-regional cooperation, basically they are talking about the part of Indian Ocean region in the Bangladesh side, that is through the BIMSTEC, that is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, then Indian Ocean Rim Association, and then Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal Initiative. Okay, so these three initiatives becomes important for you. That is, one is BIMSTEC, then we have this Indian Ocean Rim Association, and then we have this BBIN. Okay, so these, when we are talking about our relations, or you can say collaborations with Bangladesh, these things become important. Okay, the last meeting between these two people happened last month in the, you can say, non aligned movements meeting or summit, NAM summit, that happened in Uganda. Okay, so that fact even becomes important, that NAM summit, last NAM summit happened in Uganda. Okay. Now moving further, there is this when we are talking about looking around the world, there was this map which I was supposed to discuss in the last lecture, but because of the technical glitch I could not. So here you can see that there are certain things or certain areas which has been in news. We will discuss that. One is Red Sea, then Yemen. Now Yemen has these Houthi rebels which are supported by Iran. Okay, they are creating issues in this particular area. Okay, so that is why this area has been in news. So area of Yemen, Red Sea, Gulf of Aden and Somalia, this has been in the news. So that is one thing you should remember. Other than that, there is this strait, or you can say this small region, that is Bab al Mandab. Okay, so that is important because that is the choke point when we are talking about Red Sea. Okay, so most of our trade with Europe is done through this particular route. So that is why this becomes important. Other than that, here we have this Suez Canal. Okay, so the Suez Canal is important for us. Okay, it is you know that this is the Sinai Peninsula. This is Sinai Peninsula. Okay, and then we have this Israel area. So that area has been in news. So you should have a good grasp on the areas of this particular or the nations or the boundaries of this particular area, because Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, they have all been in the news. Okay, other than that, Somalia has been in news because of the Houthis attack again and again. Okay, other than that, the Strait of Hormuz has been in news because since we are not going to use this Bab al Mandab for our oil import from USA. Okay, so we are going for the oil imports from the West Asia, and for that we are taking this Strait of Hormuz and not Bab al Mandab. Okay, so that is when we are talking about the oil imports from the neighbors from the West Asia, we don't have any gap in the supply, etc. So that is why Strait of Hormuz has been in the news. Okay, now we are going for the oil imports from the West Asia because there is this issue when we are talking about shipment through this particular route. Okay, which we have discussed various times. Now there is this article for your own read. As I told you, this article already related to key changes in the Hindus and Muslim personal laws when we are talking about Uttarakhand Civil Code. Okay, and then there is this historical statements which are given in this particular article related to UCC. There are, when we are talking about the Constitution Assembly, there are few people who were in the favor of UCC and who were against UCC, and they have talked about their opinions. Okay, you don't have to go and remember all these opinions. You just go and take one name and their opinion. Okay, take one name from this side, their opinion, and that one thing is important, that you should have the opinion of B.R. Ambedkar, because he was the head of the committee. Okay, so that is why here, from here you can take one, when we are talking about Muslim League's opinion, so you can take one opinion from here. Then you can take K.M. Munshi's opinion. Okay, he has said that certain matters should be governed by the secular legislation and not the religion, which we have already discussed in our today's discussion. So that is one thing. Other than that, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, he has also said that aim of UCC was to achieve unity and amity among by removing the factor which are contributing to differences between the communities. Okay, so he has said that thing. And then B.R. Ambedkar, he has said that the state shall endeavor and protect the interest of the concerned community. That particular term, that state shall endeavor towards UCC, says that they will protect the interest of the concerned communities. Wording ensures that the UCC could not be imposed on all citizens, could only apply to those who make declaration that they are prepared to be bound by the code. Okay, so that is the view of B.R. Ambedkar here. Okay, after that they have included this article related to UCC in our DPSP. You know that article 44 talked about UCC and it is part of your DPSPs. Okay, so that is about our today's discussion. Let's have a look at the practice question for you. Here you can see who publishes the annual state of education report, that is ASER. In our previous discussion, we have taken ASER report, or we have said that they have covered it in depth, so you can go and watch that video. But the thing is, this who publishes the annual state of education report, that becomes important. So here you can say that UNESCO, World Bank, Pratham, and then Government of India. So you have to attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. So I'll end the session here. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.